Real people with real skills.
Yes.
Carl Seaver, dude, I haven't seen Carl since like 2014.
Well, let's let my brother in.
I remember the first day I met Carl.
Oh wait, let him get on the screen before you talk about having met him. Gotta bring Carl. What's up, brother? You were connecting to audio.
He's muted.
You're muted.
He's almost here. He's live.
Glad I was muted. My volume was atrociously loud. I think I'm deaf now.
How you doing, brother?
What's up, bro?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Good, man. I haven't seen you in 7 years.
I haven't seen you in forever. It seems like
it's been forever.
Long time.
Well, this is kind of a little reunion with the three of us on here, so this is fun.
Totally.
Yeah.
So
we're getting the band back together.
So I love it because I think a few of us, we've probably offended a few people. We've probably pissed a few people off.
Well, those who haven't been, here I am.
That's exactly what I was going to say. But if you're one of the people we haven't pissed off yet,
but wait, there's more.
You are sure to get pissed off now.
Wrap yourselves in.
But wait, there's more.
Yep.
That's awesome.
I love it. Anyway, so yeah, this has been a long day. I've been standing the whole day, but it's fun because I'm like wired. I'm totally wired. And I don't know if it's feeding off the frequencies and all that. Now we can have a different conversation with you than we had with other people because you were part of doing the work that we've done, the reconnective healing work, and you met your wife doing the reconnective healing work. And, you know, it's just like, there's so much to talk about, but I just want to say, first of all, for those of you that just tune in, this is Carl Seaver. He is an international psychic and medium. He will soon be an author, right? Soon.
Wait.
I just threw that out. I just made you commit to your
we
book.
did say, but wait, there's more.
Yeah. And you're a teacher. You have a facility down there in Florida where you, and you also do it online, but you teach people how to develop their psychic, intuitive, and mediumship skills. And you just hosted a mediumship demonstration the other night, right? Last night?
Wednesday night. Actually, yeah, I hosted it, but it was a mediumship demonstration for my students. So technically it was my students' demonstration. Yeah, they were students of mine, and I thought it went very well. I'm very proud of them.
Good.
Awesome.
And see, we need teachers like you that are proud of the students, and then you give them constructive feedback, right? And then encourage them to do more. So carlseaver.com, and then you can also go to, is the Karma Castle, is it karmacastle.com?
It's thekarmacastle.com. Yes.
Thekarmacastle.com, and look up Carl. He's not only is a great friend, and I will tell you, when I first met Carl in Newport Beach, I believe it was, it's like, we can't figure out the date. I'll have to look back. It was 2012 or 11 or 12.
11 or 12, something there.
Yeah, we had dinner one night and we knew we were going to do something with each other. Back then, we didn't know what or when or how, but it's because my ass.
We knew each other for a half hour, I think.
Yeah.
I think we're supposed to be doing something together.
It's so funny. So anyway, hey, I want you to, Case, if you have any questions for Carl, but Carl, give a little background of what you're doing and then how you got on this journey, because you have a very colorful background with it as well. Going back to, you were a chiropractor, you've been in corporate America, and you're trying to become another one again, a very good athlete that was you were a competitive athlete. So now you're,
dude, he's training again. He's back in training. He's going
again. Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know what goes on in his head. Don't ask me. But it's funny because you're mentioning these things that I've done. And, listen, I popped in and out throughout the day, and I'm probably one of the oddballs. Like, I don't have imaginary friends from when I was 4. I wasn't talking to the spirit world all my life. I mean, I'm a product of 80s heavy metal. When I had hair, I had long hair down to the middle of my back and guitar slung around my neck. And I wanted to be in front of 60,000 people playing heavy metal. So much so I actually used to own the URL, the heavy metal motorcycle medium. That's a true story. But I gave it up because, listen, most of my clientele, to no surprise if you've paid attention to most of the people, The vast majority of people in this work are women for some strange reason, probably because they're more open, more receptive, and that's the vast majority of my clients. It's the vast majority of my students. Now, there are more men coming into this, but most women don't resonate with the heavy metal motorcycle medium. And it was just a fun thing to do. So I never did anything with it. I just said, oh, that would be cool.
You need to
But
keep
yeah,
that URL and then just have it redirect it to carlseaver.com.
yeah, no, I let it die. I let it die a peaceful death. It was good while it lasted. Yeah, I've done a couple things in my life, and this wasn't one of them for a long time. You know, this wasn't in my it wasn't in my wheelhouse growing up. I wanted to do other things. I always believed that there was something more than this, right? This can't be it. There's got to be something more, but it just never blossomed into a thought. You know, certainly while I had a guitar slung around my neck. But it did, and when I was 22 years old, and that's when I don't want to say that's when this came to me, but that's when I became aware of some things. Now, I'll give you a very brief story about it. My grandfather had passed. It was very close with him. And if you know anything about old school Italians, my grandfather was definitely old school Italian. And for whatever reason, I don't mean to sound sexist or perpetuate sexism, mm, but old school Italians, the men like rule that community.
Yeah.
And he had three daughters, and I was the first male. So I was all that there was to him, you know, and it was a very important relationship. So I had a half-hour conversation with him about, you know, things that would be coming up. And hey, you know, there's this going to happen. You're going to talk to some people that you don't know yet. And it was very comforting to me. The only thing strange about it, it happened 3 months after he passed. And it was, you know, listen, there's a difference between I'm having a dream, I'm having a hallucination, or I'm having a visitation. Now, I can't describe for you what it is. You'll just maybe understand intellectually, but until it happens to you, you'll just hear the words. And when it does, then you'll know, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But there he was. I mean, listen, the bed depressed, hand on shoulder, and full on conversation for a half hour. Now, I promise you, I didn't tell anyone this for at least 12 years, maybe 15 years. I wasn't there in my head as far as all the things he was talking to me about. There's my grandfather, whatever he's saying, I'm listening to, and, you know, it's great. But I didn't want them to think I'm crazy, to be honest with you. So I just kept my mouth shut, you know, that wasn't my path at the time. And then as I get older, you know, I'm starting noticing these synchronicities, one after the other, after the other. I'm starting to hear voices, and not like, hey, I'm going crazy, or hey, they're telling me to do something. I'm just hearing things and I'm just dismissing it because, oh, maybe I have a really good imagination, or maybe I'm a scary good judge of a character. And then there's this one time it just like clicked, and there it was. And I'm like, yeah, I think I'm supposed to do something with this. And I decided to silently start doing something about it. I say silently because I'm a private person. I don't boast about what I do. I certainly don't brag about what I do. And when I started my development, that wasn't an advertisement either. I started it privately, quietly, went to a place that nobody knew me, and things just happened to fall in place real quick. And then it was shortly after I started, I was, dare I say it, I was foolish enough to start professionally shortly after I started. Why? Because I'm clearly not well. And it just felt like the right thing. It felt like I'm supposed to help, and this might be a way that I can do it.
Yeah.
So listen, you know, when I started, there was a lot of trial by fire, you know, when you're seeing somebody who is actually paying you real money and relying on you to make this connection that they are so hoping you can do. It was an interesting and fun time. But when I started, I was still doing other things. And then I had this coming to God moment, or a meeting with the whole spirit world by myself on a beach saying, listen, if this is what you want me to do, you better give me some really clear signs. And it didn't take long. It was like the week after that, the people who I was seeing part-time, you should do this full-time. Hey, do you ever think about doing this full-time? As like after the fourth one, I'm like, okay, I got it. Crystal clear, got it, loud and clear. So I plunged out of like, the work environment, and I dove into this full time, full strength, full energy. And I know I told you this before, Adam. I don't suggest it for anyone. Actually, for anyone, I don't suggest it. But when I do things, I'm like all in, like all in or don't get involved. So I wanted to make sure that I had no safety nets. I didn't want to see, I'm going to give myself a month. And if it doesn't work out, then I'll go back to this, cushy thing that I was good at, and everything will be safe and calm. So I practiced the scorched earth policy. People tell you don't burn bridges. I disagree. I scorched earth to the point that there's no way that they would want me back. I didn't do it out of malice. I did it because
There you go, intention, right?
just didn't want the safety. Because if it's safe, then again, this is just for me. How committed are you? How real is this for you? If you've always got something to go back to, how much of yourself are you giving to it? So I just had to remove the safety net, and I've been all in since then. There's been very few things in my life that have touched my soul like this work, that have made me feel like I am doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And, you could call it, you hear people calling, well, were you called? Is it a calling? And those have religious connotations to me. And I'm not a very religious person. I'm highly spiritual, but I'm not a very religious person. So when you say calling, well, who called you? I felt this drive to do this.
Yeah.
So much so that doing something else just didn't make sense to me.
I get it. I totally resonate with that. See, you're more of the scorched earth person. I was the drag along. I'm like, I got to do this. And then it took a global pandemic for me to go, okay, I'm finally leaving corporate America to do the passion project that I really wanted to do, because all of my other friends, Case is doing it. Carl went out on his own, and look, you guys have been there, done all those things you've done. And now I'm there. It's your perspective, right? You were good. Safety net. No, I was like, I was trying to take the safety net with me to do this.
Yeah.
And this is just a passion project, right? This is a free thing that's going to be for fun, to educate people. And I do believe that there's an ebb and flow in the universe, like we all have shared many times together. So in your practice then, like, what did it take for you? You said you just went out immediately and put the shingle out, medium.
I say immediately, but I mean, probably 6 months into training.
Okay.
And please don't do that. It's a mistake. It really is. Yeah, I don't advise it.
So
I like your style.
Yeah, right. So you talk to some people, and then a few people are like, boom, it just happened to me one day and it came through at this certain level. I never had to practice. This is it. But for 90, I don't know, I don't want to make a total number, maybe 90% of the mediums out there, it probably didn't happen that way, right? It was development of it. I mean, I don't know the numbers.
It's development for sure. Listen, you could feel driven to do something, but that doesn't, let's just use piano as an example. You can feel driven to pound your hands on these keys. It doesn't mean you're going to be Beethoven when you sit down. It just means when I pound these keys, I like what I hear.
Yeah.
And it inspires me to learn more. It makes you, if you're driven with a true passion, you will put the time and dedication in without realizing that it's time and dedication, because it's what you're passionate about. And then with anything else, it's, it's an art, it's a craft. The more you do it, and again, I don't want to say, I forget what football coach it was, and I won't phrase him exactly, but it's perfect practice makes perfect, not just any practice.
Yeah.
So, just pounding the keys for 3 months, you're going to still sound like you can almost play chopsticks. You'll have to learn the right scales and hand position, and you'll have to learn these things. And then they become comfortable and natural for you. And, then you keep developing and developing and developing. I saw a little flash of somebody had a question of like, how long is training?
Yeah.
For forever. For forever. This is a lifelong endeavor if you're committed to it. I've been doing the work professionally for about 10 years at this point, and I'm a student. I'll be learning as long as I'm breathing. And I mean it from sincerity, that the moment you think you have nothing else to learn, please do something else.
Well, and I can vouch for you on that, because not that you need me to, because you could give a crap if I vouch for you, but I'm going to tell everyone this anyway. Because when you came down and I set up a demonstration for you down here at one of the facilities, we had a decent showing that night. You came down and you were out of your element. You did a reading. I thought you did well. I thought you did well. But you came over to me afterwards, and you had been doing it for a little while. You came over to me afterwards and goes, "How did I do?" I said, "You sucked." I go, "You could have done way better than that." You were like, "Huh?" And I mean, you knew I didn't mean it maliciously. I just had seen you before doing readings where you were open. And so, like Tony mentioned earlier, you have on days and you have off days. You get into your head sometimes and you don't allow it to come through. You just, so you like took that feedback so well. And of course we're friends, so I was able to share that with you. If it was some other jackass, you probably would have decked me, but anyway, I think it's great because I could tell what you did. And I don't know if it was because of this, but you went and you dove into it. You went to some trainings. You flew over to Europe. You dove so far into developing your skill. And the next time I saw you, I was like, whoa, like, dude, knock
Yeah,
it
you
out.
have to. I mean, you have to. Listen, I'm saying you have to. If it's just a passing thing that you're interested in, you don't have to.
Yeah.
Just dive into your comfort level. But for some reason, I knew that this is what I'm meant to do. And again, I don't mean it from ego, and I promise you I don't. I just don't have any other way to say it in this moment. But when I started, things just fell into place. It felt rather natural. And I was new, working with people who were doing it for years, and it just seemed natural. But then, and I want to share this because this is a real thing. It went to my head real quick. And then I started being fueled by something else. Ego, popularity, fame. And that didn't work out too well. And I really stopped everything for a solid 6 months. I didn't see a client. I didn't do a meditation. I don't even think I said the word medium or psychic for 6 months. And in that time, I just did some adjusting, and I was reminded that this work specifically is to be of service. And then when I came to real comfort with that, I dove back in, and then everything changed. Everything changed.
Yeah.
There was emotion in it. There was feeling in it. There's always evidence. I'm big on evidence, because if I'm just talking about some female energy floating around you who loves you and supports you, I didn't really tell you anything. And I certainly didn't prove the continuation of the soul. I didn't do that. So evidence was always important. But evidence without the emotion seems to flatline. And then you become this evidence robot. Oh, and they did this and they did this. So flatline with no connection to it. So I think from my path, I think I needed to start early. That's just my personality. I needed to have this internal cleansing of, this just doesn't feel right. Let me cleanse and start over. And then now this feels like this is genuine. This is real. And to pick on what you said, Adam, yeah, you do have, if you're lucky, you have a stellar night every once in a while. But if you're a human, like a regular person, you're going to have some really good nights, and you're going to have some really crap nights.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't know who said it. I've heard it in my development, that you're only as good as your last link. That's a nice thing to hear, but I don't agree to that. I don't agree to that at all. I really haven't. After my 6 months off, I really never subscribed to that. I know my potential, I know where my mediumship can go, but I can only take it to a certain place in that moment. So all I can do is trust and surrender, not be as good as I can, but trust and surrender and serve as best as I can in that moment. And that moment will be different than the next moment and the next one and yesterday's. So listen, I'm glad you saw me struggle, and I do appreciate the way that you said that. And that's how I would expect a friend of mine to tell me that right in front of my face. That's how I'd want it. And then, you know, you find, again, my perspective, just because Carl's saying it doesn't mean it's carved in stone. It's my perspective from my experience. You find that if you want to continue to develop and you want to become as good as you can, not the best, there's no such thing, as good as you can, you have to have pretty thick skin and be able to look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm not as good as I think I am, and I need to polish some things.
Yeah.
And if you can do that with humility, not embarrassment, if you can do that with humility, that's from a real pure place. And, you know, and then you can take your development, you know, further from there. So, yeah, I mean, I remember that night. Not that I remember it as a bad night. I remember it as a night where I was in my head because of who was in the audience. And I didn't feel as comfortable. And I know that my personality was a little sheltered. And what I found in doing this work is your personality is significantly important in this. You know, you would think that people are coming because you have things to tell them. Then yeah, there's some truth in that, but they're coming and they're driven or guided to you because of you, that aspect of you that you're bringing your mediumship with, right? And that's why with all these different mediums throughout the world, there's different styles of mediums because there's different people. And I'm glad there's different styles, but without your personality involved in it, it's just flatline. And how can it really be a part of you if your personality is not included with it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a great point. Did your audio just change? Case, did you notice that?
I did not notice.
My ears
I did not.
So, Carl, I love what you say about that. And, you know, you and I can always joke about these things, but I just want to know, when you go to the cleaners, what kind of starch do you get on your shirts?
No starch. It's just an iron.
You don't do medium? Come on.
No medium.
I would
No
think
medium
medium starch. What the hell? Come on, I got to pull something out of you here, buddy. I've gotten Carl, a friend of ours, that got Carl to laugh so hard one night he couldn't breathe. And I think it was that week you were down here doing your demonstration.
Yeah, couldn't catch my breath.
To watch you laugh with your whole heart is one of, I have that video somewhere.
I've never seen Carl laugh.
Get out of town.
Let me tell you, he can't stop when he gets going like that. And it was the dumbest thing. It was the punchline to a joke told by a Serbian friend. And it's just the way he said it. Oh,
a snail and a rabbit, a snail saying something to a rabbit, and I lost my stuff of like, wait, why is the snail talking to the rat? I just lost it. Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, I had to bring that. It's been a long day. But so when you're doing now, you are teaching courses on this, which you know, with your style and the way you are, you know, I guess the reason I made that comment to you that night was I'm used to this East Coast accent, and they're like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna throw it out there, because you're very much a grounded, masculine energy and that type of a medium, and I think that's important for this work. And I just saw you not be your natural self at night, so you teach this to people in groups and a one-on-one. When you're teaching it, what do you like? If you step back and say, hey, if I would have known this when I first started out, what advice would you give to those people? Or maybe you do this already in your trainings, but what is the advice you give to those people now that you've got the perspective of starting out?
Well, listen, I told you earlier that I started out too soon, but I think it was by design. It was on purpose to give me more experience to know what to do and all this kind of stuff. But I teach it based on my experience, and whether it's, you know, a one-on-one with a mentoring student or in a class, I have mediumship Mondays. So every Monday night I have a mediumship development circle.
Yeah.
And, you know, listen, you have to be in this place where you're comfortable with yourself. You have to be comfortable being vulnerable, right?
Yeah.
And once you are comfortable with that, it's much more easy for you to be open and trust. And, you know, then you can start sharing that which you perceive. But the thing that I tell most students brand new is, you know, after they take a course to come to a Monday circle for me, is you have to be willing to share what you believe you know, knowing there's a chance that someone's going to look you right in the eye and say, that doesn't make any sense. That's not true. Doesn't make any sense at all. You know, you've got two options. You got two options when this happens. Get stuck in, oh my God, they said no. I don't know if I'm a medium. They don't know if I'm a medium. What am I going to do? And you've just dropped out of your power. Or you can move on to the next thing that you know so that they can say yes. Now, I've said this countless times to students because a lot of students have seen me demonstrate, which I love. It's a passion of mine. But I've told them that on like rock star nights where people want autographs, they want to come up and shake your hand and what you've meant to them and how you've impacted them. I might be 80–85% accurate, right? There's no 100%. I mean, I would call BS on anyone says that I'm 100% medium. You're 100% full of it. It's not possible, right? So do you dwell on the negative, or do you say, okay, well, that I'm incorrect in that, no problem, let me move on to something else? Right. The second you make it a big deal, you amplify its power and you get sucked into that, right? I caught a bit of Suzanne's thing, and it's funny, she used the Michael Jordan analogy where Case said Wilt Chamberlain for some unknown reason. But anyway, she was talking about,
he's a badass, dude.
Yeah, he was, but that was in the 70s, man. So, you know, most people would say, no offense, Case, most people would say Michael Jordan. And then the follow-up was, well, how many shots do you think he missed? A lot of them. But does he talk about it? No, you need those because they help you improve. And as long as you can be okay understanding that you're never going to be 100% accurate.
Yeah.
As soon as you can come from a place where you are detached from that sitter or that audience's expectation of you, and you put yourself in a place of, I am here to serve the spirit world, then I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
I mean, my worry is over, you know?
I love that. That's a great way of explaining. Well, it's also the same thing. It's the Michael Jordan analogy is the same as Babe Ruth, right? He had more home runs at the time than anybody and one of the best hitters, but he also struck out more than anyone
totally
in those seasons. So you got to go, but it's how many at bats are you going to get, right? How many times are you going to get out on the court and take the shot? That's the challenge with so many people. They don't take the shot. And the three of us have seen this. Carl, you see it more in the mediumship world, but Case and I have seen it, and so have you, in the healing world, right? People have learned how to facilitate healing work, and then they don't go out and do it. They don't ever do it. They just go, it's like, oh, I got a certificate, whoop, whoop, on the wall. I'm a healer, but how are you going to expand and shift and grow unless you share your gift with somebody? You got to go see people, you know, and I remember the first time I did a healing session, it was in somebody's recliner chair, and I had no clue what I was doing. I was freaking out. But you know, then you just have to finally take the step. And finally, when I saw my first client, it was like, oh, this is what it's like. Yeah. And you know, 20 years later, after doing the healing work, now I'm teaching people how to have a 5-star practice because it's simple, but we all three come from a space of perspective and from knowingness of this field and what's going on. And we really, you know, the whole intent is to share with people. Go out and explore your gift. Go find somebody like a Carl, a Tony, a Suzanne, and all the other wonderful teachers out there, and go educate yourself. Take their online course. Take their take whatever they're offering and learn, and just expand and be open and aware to things, and just allow the information to come in. I mean, we've had a good number of people on here all day. Some have come in and come out, but cheers to all of you that have stayed on from the very get-go until we finish up after, you know, having Carl here.
There's no way somebody stayed on for the whole thing. There's no way,
They
dude.
better have, and I'm gonna go look.
I
at the
barely
analysis.
did.
I'm scanning all day. Oh, look, I did. Oh yeah, Case.
Sweet,
Hey.
sweet.
Yeah, a bunch of people. There you go.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Zoom user Gabriel, Lucian, Carolyn. Woo, Kate.
Okay, I don't know
There you
shit.
go.
Okay, it's
What's
cool.
your words, brother? I love it. Thank you all for being here. So, Carl, I told you I was going to ask this. What is your favorite thing to share with people to develop their skill? Like, what a simple practice.
Simple practice.
Oh, okay. If you don't want to be simple, because I know you like difficult things. I'm just kidding.
I like to simplify things because nothing really needs to be complicated. And you'll have to forgive me if it was said, because I know there've been several other mediums on, and I know that they've all got different belief systems. But I mean, if you're just starting, I would strongly suggest that you become really comfortable with you, become really comfortable with who you are. And I will tell you, I've changed as a person in this work. How can you not? You know, I was a much different person a decade plus ago. But, you know, when you do this, when you put yourself in this power, in the presence of the spirit world, you know, you sense these things, you feel these things, you have a knowingness that no belief can ever shatter. And what you find is you find the flaws in you, the strengths in you, the things that you're embarrassed about, the things that you're proudest about. And if you hid all of those things that you were embarrassed about, or things that you didn't like about yourself, you'd shut an aspect of yourself off. Well, how do you find those things in others? How can you be open enough to sense something in another if you can't address it in yourself, you know? So the first thing is really start to become comfortable with yourself. Start carving out some time for yourself where you can put yourself, I don't want to say like woo-woo, like meditation, but put yourself in some silent space where you can just exist without a laundry list in your head. And then slowly start with that desire to connect to the spirit world, maybe before you connect to a spirit communicator. So you can feel and sense the difference of, here's our physical world. Ooh, something's changed. Here's the spirit world. Now let me laser point focus in. Here's a spirit communicator. But, you know, there's no wrong way of doing it. But I think a comfortable way of easing yourself into the point of becoming comfortable sensing and perceiving energies that are not yours. You know, the energy or power of somebody else, the thoughts of somebody else when they're not yours. If you don't own your own stuff, how are you going to decipher your stuff from the other person?
Yeah, exactly. Carolyn just came in and said, it's the fucking frequency in my ears 24/7, 365. You said we can swear. Yes, you can swear out here. I don't know how we'll get taken down, but the thing is, Carl, that's great because you are tuning in. That's what you're doing. You're tuning in when you're saying that, right?
Sure.
We may use a different language here and there. I don't know why, while you were saying that, I kind of wanted your opinion on, well, two things. First, do you find that the bookends of the day, like right when you wake up and right when you go to bed at night, do you feel those are accentuated times where you can tune in, or I'm just blowing smoke for beginners?
If you say it in English, I'll be able to answer that question.
So right before you go to bed at night and right when you wake up in the morning.
Right.
do you feel you can tune in much easier at those times?
Yeah. I would tell you for the new person, the untrained person who hasn't put themselves through a deliberate, concerted effort of maintaining a specific brainwave without getting too scientific, we fall in and out of theta wave right before we're going to sleep and right as we're waking up. So for the people that are not scientific, you've already tuned me out, and I get it. But there's a lot of research that goes into the fact that your mind is in at least a theta wave or deeper, the stronger your connection is. And we do this naturally 2 times a day without even thinking about it.
Yeah.
What a meditative practice, and listen, again, it doesn't have to be holding your fingers like this and going om for an hour. What a meditative practice is, it trains yourself to keep your brain in that theta wave for a longer and longer and longer and longer time. Right.
Yeah.
But again, with that said, guys, new students in my development circles, and whether they're mediumship or psychic, most psychic work we can do porpoising in and out of a daydream state, an alpha wave, right? You don't have to be so deeply connected to connect with another person. Why? We don't have to change our frequency that much. We're human to human, incarnate to incarnate. We're already vibrating similarly enough that I don't have to tune in that much different. We're already physically here, right?
Yeah.
So it's when we make that shift from incarnate to incarnate to incarnate to discarnate soul, yeah, I got to tune my channel a little differently. You know, I've got to vibrate a little differently so I can receive that, which is always around us. But I have to tune myself into that, just like you would on an old-fashioned radio station. The music's still there. It's always there. You just have a radio tuned to country, and now you want to turn it to rock. You just change the dial.
So you're probably the only person we could ask this to today because of doing the healing work we've done for so many years, all of us. Do you feel that's like the fact that we're tuning into a frequency, this vibration? Do you think that's a reason why a lot of people doing the work that we do, whether they're receiving the healing session or facilitating it, start to get messages themselves or be able to give messages to others because we're changing our frequency or bringing ourselves to another vibration?
Well, think of it as like a conduit of consciousness, if you will. And there's many things that you can do to change that. And that healing work is certainly one of those things for sure. But let's oversimplify it even more. What is the person that was trained the way that we were? I mean, what are you doing during that time? What is your intent? Where is your mind? Where is your focus? You are in the moment present.
Yeah.
There's nothing else going on. It's a calming of the mind that allows us to be open to the non-physical reality, right? Now, it's just the difference in the person of when we start perceiving this non-physical reality, are we doing this with a background of conditioning of fear? Or are we doing with the empowerment of we are part of divinity? We are not separated. Again, I told you, I am not a religious person. I am highly spiritual, and I am part of divinity. So much so that what would I ever need to protect myself from? Right?
Thank you. So let's jump into that because I'm not here to judge anybody, but some of the other, every medium has their own thing. And we've heard the word protection and fear a lot, but I think some of it gets lost in translation. And I know you and I have had this conversation. I know Case resonates with this as well. Let's wrap it up from your perspective. The fear, yes, you'd probably, and share with us what you do to prep for whether it's a reading, that's a good word for it, a reading, a demonstration, or another way where you tune in and you're doing group one-on-one. How do you set up for them? And then where do you feel like, do you bring protection into that? And give us I know your eyes, I already knew the answer. I'm guiding you down here. I wanted to, but I want you to share, because some people talk about fear. I got to protect myself from this. And I look at it and go, protect yourself from fucking what? You're the light, man.
Well, dude, if you believe you have to protect yourself, then you probably better protect yourself.
You're saying exactly where I'm going. Listen, I'm not the person to tell somebody how to do this, right? That's not my role. But you have to understand that all beliefs can be shattered. You can't shatter a knowingness, right? But if you come from, and before I even start that, you have to also have that understanding that you are a co-creator in this reality, right? And if you believe that you need to protect yourself, you damn well better. But if you know you don't, what would you protect yourself from?
Exactly. Thank you.
There's nothing connected to divinity. There is nothing to protect yourself from. You are the light. You walk into the room of I am the light, not ego. Energetically, etherically, I am connected to this source that has created everything. I need no protection. Would I want to protect myself physically from somebody who meant to do me harm? You bet your ass I will. But a non-physical person in the spirit world, there's nothing to protect yourself from.
I love that, man. Thank you. You drive that point home very clearly. I like to hear it from other people that I resonate with on that. I think a lot of people will recognize that as well. And somebody said, look, we create our reality, live in the love, right? We want to live in love, happiness, joy, compassion, and prosperity instead of fear, lack, and limitation. And when you vibrate like that, which is where I believe the three of us are, and many of the people there too. And it's okay to have your different perspective of how you jump in and out of this. That's great. Go do it. If that's where you're at, you do it.
Yeah. So you asked a question I want to answer, like, well, how do I prepare?
Yeah.
I want to answer that because it's an evolution. How I used to prepare and how I prepare are day and night apart, because I didn't know. And when you're starting, you don't know because you think it's the meditation that makes you the medium.
Right.
And if I say these magic words long enough, then it's ready to go. And I remember when I first started, I was doing 45-minute preparation before a first reading. And I was at a psychic fair. I'll make this short, I promise. I was on my way to a psychic fair, and I always give myself time to get there, make sure my area is set up, and then I got to put my headphones on and I'm lost in whatever I'm doing for 45 minutes. I build that extra time in. Well, there was an accident on the way there. I got there. There was already a line at my station. I had zero time to prep, and I had a phenomenal day.
Never prepped again, probably.
My epiphany in that moment was, and this is many, many moons ago, I don't have to prepare myself to be a medium. I am a medium. All I have to do is become present and be in the moment.
I love that. That is a
Everything
phenomenal takeaway.
disappeared for me.
What's that?
We still see you.
Yeah. And you
Yeah,
guys,
we did.
yeah. As long as you can see me, I can't see you guys anymore. But
What
maybe
what a
that's,
great synchronicity in the timing of that. It was,
yeah, we're back. So listen, in 10 seconds, but what I do now is I'll listen to some soothing music based on what it is that I'm doing. If I'm seeing clients that day, I'll listen to something soothing. It'll take me 3 minutes or so just to kind of calm myself down. If I'm preparing for a demonstration, I need a little bit of higher energy. So I've got some metal going on in my head.
Good. I was going to ask you that.
Yeah, for about 15-20 minutes, I am on tour, on stage with some headbanging going on. Why? Because that helps me relax. It brings my energy up.
Love
And those are the things that I do now. I didn't do it 10 years ago.
I love it, brother. I absolutely love that. That makes me so happy to hear, because some people were asking that commentary in there. So I want to plug you here on this, because you are kind enough to have offered something for the attendees. And
Oh yeah, and I'm going to change that too. You're going to be mad at me. I got to change the date.
Whatever date you want, we'll put it in there. I'll send it out in the link. So what is it going to be? You're giving a free what?
I'm going to do a free hour. I'm going to say webinar, but it's going to be like, I can see you there. We're going to see each other, right?
Okay.
Free 1 hour. We're going to talk about what people can do for psychic or energetic hygiene. And we're going to talk about the ethics of this work, which are there. That's paramount to not talk about ethics to people who are about to develop or newly developing. I think it's one of the biggest shortcomings. I wanted to originally do that on the 19th of January, but I already have another event, tickets sold, booked for the 19th of January. So I'm going to do it on the 26th of January.
26th. I'll put that in there. And do me a favor, because I'm sure the link will change. Is that correct?
No, it's the same link.
It's the same link. Okay, cool. I'm going to put in a link for everybody, but give them the lowdown on the link.
Well, listen, the best way for you to do that, it's a long Acuity link with a Zoom link attached to it. It's about 400 characters long. You're gonna include that into everybody's thing, right?
It is. It's in the chat right now, so
Okay.
they can do that. It's January 26th at 7
Yeah.
p.m.
Here's the only unfortunate thing, because I'm not an Acuity expert, and if someone is, then shoot me an email of how I could do it differently. You can't register for this thing until December 26th. For some reason, it's stopping me from registering a month before for this class. I don't know why.
Okay, so everybody, you're going to get the link. Don't register for it until Christmas.
Well, don't. I mean, they can't. They'll go to this and it'll never appear, right? It'll be visible to them on the 26th of December.
I love the
Somehow
dynamic where you get
manifest.
I love the dynamic where you do this with friends and you're like, don't, hey, screw you, Adam, just they can't, what?
Yeah.
By the way,
Yeah.
I always forget, Carl, Glenn Fiddick or Glenn Levitt?
Oh, listen, I've changed. I've changed.
Oh, come
I've discovered another 21-year-old by the name of Alberfeldy.
Aberfeldy? Okay, well, we're gonna have to make that happen. We're gonna have to have an evening and sip on a little bit of that case. We'll have to figure out how we all get together, maybe do a virtual happy hour or something. Hey, my friend, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
I tell you, this is I don't know how long we've been going, 45 plus. This is like 3 or 4 minutes on my end. I don't know your end, but I'm like, well, when are they going to ask me something?
Well, hey, we're giving your website out. Everyone's at. Well, people are asking questions. I think it's funny. Do you have to win it? No, you don't have to win it. Let's all meet in Scotland on High Street and do some tastings. Yes, let's do it.
Great.
Somebody just said it's been happy hour all day. Hey, I haven't had a sip of anything all day except water. So I'm glad you appreciate it. And thank you all for being here. One of the things, and Carl, stay on while we're finishing up here.
Sure.
This was, a passion project. And I talked to Carl, talked to Case a while back. I talked to Suzanne, and it kind of ripple affected out from there. If you know any other mediums or near-death experience researchers or anyone out there that you want to have on one of these future shows, we're going to do Awaken the Master Within, Awaken the Mystic Within. We're going to have Awaken the Divinity Within. I've got a list of people, but just send me that in the email. You can reply to the email that you got associated with this event. And also, please go visit Carl's website, carlseaver.com. Go check out Case's YouTube site. It's phenomenal, Everyday Masters. And last but not least, please check out my website at energyhealthcareconnection.com. And we'll be linking it all. So these replays will come online. They'll definitely be on my YouTube channel down the road. And I'm sure Case, you'll be sharing it, and you're part of this too. So this is going to be a collaborative effort, and we really just want to educate people and bring about awareness and healing on the planet. So thank you all for attending. Thank you all that couldn't make it to the whole day, that will see this in recording. Thank you all for who did make it for the whole day. Holy crap.
I can't believe people watched all of this.
Well, I'm glad I got to put that in your face, brother. So that's good. You guys got any closing words?
Yeah, but probably not the ones that you want to hear. There's probably a million questions that went on throughout that a lot of people didn't get a chance to get answers for. I will tell you, if they're interested, if you guys want to send them to me, I'd be happy to answer them for them. But again, it'd be an answer from my perspective. It doesn't mean it's carved in stone. It's not fact. It's from my perspective based on my experience. I'd be happy to do that because I know I've been on the other end of this before. We're like, oh, they're not getting to my question. What's wrong with this guy? I'm happy to answer any question if you guys want to shoot them to me at some point in the future.
Cool.
Case?
Do I have anything to say? No, I actually have a huge group session here in like 7 minutes. I have to go to the bathroom before that. I thoroughly enjoyed being a part of this, dude. Thank you so much. And like Carl said, I think our podcast should be like one person, 2.5 hours of just like talking. They like, cause like Carl said, he's like, dude, you didn't even like ask me any questions.
We
Right?
didn't even, we get started.
We could have talked for hours. So Carl, you're going to be one of our first guests on our podcast. And I cannot wait. Looking forward to it.
Ready.
Okay, man. Adam, I'll talk to you later, bro.
Sounds good, brother. Have a good one. See ya.
Take care, everybody.
Carl, thank you so much.